meeting of the Rights of Way Subcommittee, which has been convened as a hybrid meeting. The meeting is being recorded and will be made available to the Council website as soon as possible following the meeting. The meeting agenda pack can also be viewed on the Council's website. Everyone participating in this meeting will be attending either in the Council chamber or from remote locations. Councillors attending remotely must keep their cameras on for the duration of the meeting. However, all attendees should keep their microphones off until invited to speak. Members, invitees and officers can indicate when they want to speak by pressing the hands up icon. Please could officers and invitees announce their names and designation where they wish to speak from. I will now proceed to the agenda business. And we've got two people with us today as well, Helen Donovan, the British Horse Society, and Les Meechan, Ramblers Association. So if I go on to the agenda, number one, apologies, I haven't had any, or Mark. Any declarations from anybody, please? No? Thank you. Okay. Can I move the...
Point of order, Chair. Sorry, it's just a personal interest for me that I'm the local member for the area.
Well, I don't think he would declare an interest in that. He's just a local member,
no
aren't you? But I'm sure Jane will answer that question for you.
Yes, there's no need to declare an interest for that.
No way. Okay, thank you.
We're going to go back now a bit to 22/8/22 for the approval of the minutes. I hope everybody's read them. And could somebody formally move them and second them, please? Move.
I'll second.
Has everybody pressed F1? Okay, thank you for that. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favour? Aye. Okay, thank you for that. Right, let's move on then. Right, number 4 on the agenda is Rights of Way Manager Andrew Mason will now give an overview of the footpath 17 in Boothcall. Andrew, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. Andrew Mason, Rights of Way Manager. The purpose of the report is to request authorisation to make an order to divert a section of footpath 17 Porthcawl on land adjoining 15 The Burrows, Porthcawl, pursuant to section 257 of the Town and Country Planning Act 1990. In order to implement planning consent P23119 FUL, the development of a new detached 2-storey dwelling house with 3 bedrooms next to 15 The Burrows, Porthcawl, a section of footpath 17 Porthcawl would need to be diverted. The plan in Appendix A to the report shows the consent curtilage of the planning consent, whilst the section of footpath which is proposed to be diverted is shown between points A, B and C on the plan in Appendix B. Paragraph 3.1 of the report describes in detail the section of footpath which is proposed to be diverted. This is shown by the solid black line, as I said, between points A, B and C on the plan in Appendix B. The approximate length of the footpath to be diverted is 60 metres, but the width is currently undefined in the definitive statement. The footpath has a natural surface. The proposed alternative route for the section of footpath 17 Porthcawl to be diverted is described in detail in paragraph 3.2 of the report. This is shown by a dashed black line between points D, E, F, G and C on the plan in Appendix B. The approximate length of the new route is 56 metres. The new footpath will have a width of 1.5 metres and a tarmac Adam surface with path edging as per the rest of the footpath 17 Porthcawl through the housing estate. As will be noted from the diversion order plan, the new footpath will start on the eastern edge of the footway on the Burrows at point D, approximately 11 metres north of the point where the existing footpath leaves the same residential street. That's point A on the plan. As members will recall from their training earlier this week, this slight alteration to the point where the route commences on the Burrows is perfectly acceptable within the scope of the legislation. Furthermore, the reason why the footpath diversion is not shown as running along the footway of the Burrows, i.e. between points A and D, is because the footway is already shown as part of the maintainable highway, and the legislation does not allow for the public rights of way to be created over existing highways. Taking into account the additional section of footway that users of the footpath will now have to use, the total length of the alternative route is 66 metres. Paragraphs 3.4 to 3.6 of the report provide a summary of the background to the previous and current application to divert this section of footpath. This culminated in the current application to divert the footpath being submitted to the Council on the 6th of January 2025. Following the submission of the proposal in anticipation of the most recent planning application being granted consent, and in accordance with the Council's standard consultation process for public path orders, various organisations, individuals and statutory undertakers were consulted in March 2023. During the consultation process, 3 formal responses were received. The Bridgend Ramblers and South Wales Police Designing Out Crime Officer offered no objection, whilst the British Horse Society representative submitted a number of objections to the proposal. The objections submitted by the British Horse Society are set out in full in paragraphs 3.7 C1 to 6, and a summary of the Council's response to those objections can be found in paragraphs 3.9 to 3.14 of the report. Following receipt of the Council's response, the British Horse Society advised that they wish to maintain their objections to the proposal. In order to facilitate the construction of a new detached 2-storey dwelling house with 3 bedrooms at land adjoining 15 the Burrows, a section of footpath per 17 Porthcawl will need to be diverted. Paragraph 3.17 outlines the guidance provided by the Welsh Government for local authorities on public rights of way, and which should be taken into account when dealing with applications for diversions under the Town and Country Planning Act. In regard to the 3 considerations which members should be considering in coming to a judgment as to whether to make an order, the report advises as follows. The interests of the public can be said to be satisfied because although the proposed diversion is slightly longer than the existing route, this is a very minor when the total length of footpath 17 Porthcawl is considered. In addition, the current footpath has a natural surface, whereas the proposed surface will be tarmac, and the current width is undefined, whereas the new width will have a defined width of 1.5 metres. The developer will be responsible for the works to provide the diversion and the provision of the new route. Although the footpath is being moved from one side of an area of open ground to the other, the same properties will still be affected by the route, albeit to a greater or lesser extent. Therefore, there does not appear to be any additional effects of the order on adjoining properties. It may be considered that the order could have a detrimental effect on equestrian users, with the path being diverted before the DMMO is determined. However, the route is currently only a public footpath, and therefore the matter must be processed as such. If the definitive map modification order is confirmed, then the Council will have to deal with any new issues that arise at that time. The Council is unaware of any potential financial loss to members of the public. The equality, well-being and future generations, climate change and safeguarding and corporate parenting implications are outlined in sections 4, 5, 6 and 7 of the report. In terms of financial implications, any financial implications arising from the procedures are expected to be minimal, as the developer will be meeting the cost of the diversion process and the implementation of any works required by the Council. The recommendations are outlined in section 9 of the report.
Thank you, Andrew, for that overbrief of what you were wishing to do. Has anybody got any questions regarding the diversion of the Burrows? Simon? You're on mute.
Yeah, first, apologies I couldn't get to the site meeting this morning, and apologies if these questions have already been answered, but who currently owns the land that the footpath will the new footpath route will go along, and I assume that they will then be responsible for the maintenance of that footpath. Is that correct?
The owner of 15 the Burrows, the person who has put the planning application in, owns the land. So they own 15 the Burrows and also the land adjoining 15 the Burrows. They will be paying the cost of the diversion and for putting the path in. Once the path has been put in and been signed off by the rights of way team, the surface of that path then becomes the responsibility of the Canterbury Council as it is now.
Okay, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Simon. Anybody got any other questions, please? No? Helen, I'll allow you, if you want to make a comment or anything else you want to add to what you did this morning.
Nothing more to add, thank you very much.
Okay, Les? Okay, thank you for that. You can see the recommendations, 9.1. Can somebody formally move and second them, please?
I move.
I'll second.
Thank you. So, are we all in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Right, okay, thank you for that. So that's passed, Andrew. Okay, diversion order passed. So I'll go back to the agenda item. There is nothing urgent that I have been made aware of. So I will formally close the meeting and thank you all for attending this morning and the site meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.